Good evening and welcome to Fleetway's Roundup with your boy Darius, back at it again on another Tuesday afternoon, evening, however you want to pronounce it. But back at it again. Can't wait to get into the news as always. Like I said in a lot of my little announcements, heads up that this episode is just going to be a little bit more focused on the sports and movie side of things. Not really too much going on in the video game atmosphere right now, just a lot of same old that we've talked about in previous episodes. The only biggest news that I've seen as far as video games going is that there is apparently gonna that a lot of people who are PlayStation owners are going to be kind of going on a little bit of like a strike of sorts, where they're going for a set amount of time they're going to basically not get onto their PlayStation devices to really try to do a little bit of a movement as their way of voicing their disdain and um anger to, well, not anger but more so disappointment in how Sony's been handling the whole physical media thing and stuff. So it's that's the only really like big news going on as far as in that area of the world. But still, I'm rooting for them. I hope that they get that message across. I'm an Xbox guy, but still, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation. They all trying to screw their customers over. So, but we've talked about that in previous episodes. But for this episode, like I said, again, this is going to be more sports and movies related. And I kind of even want to do things a little differently than we normally do. And I know normally, typically, we start out with the sports stuff and then we get to the movies and video games. Well, tonight, we're going to go and start out with the movie side of things, as it shouldn't take us as long, but honestly, who knows? We'll see. It's going to be a play by ear kind of thing. But we're going to go and start off over here with the movie news. As to start things off, recently San Diego Comic-Con has been going on. So, of course, a lot of movie news is happening there. Announcements for either upcoming movies or for movies that are getting closer and closer to arriving. That's kind of like the place where either announcements happen or updates on up and coming movies, that kind of stuff. That's typically the place where normally Marvel thrives. We'll be talking about that later. One of the things that was announced though today is, thanks to Sony, we got our we kind of got news that our first trailer for the new Jumanji movie is going to be releasing in 3 hours. As we haven't taught, and we even now have our official title for the movie as well, as it's going to be called Jumanji Open World. And I've enjoyed I've enjoyed the Jumanji franchise as a whole. I remember watching the original with Robin Williams in there, and that was an enjoyable time. I remember watching that a few times on repeat as a kid. It was always that movie that kind of was like fun to watch overall. There were some parts of that movie that, man, freaked me out when I was younger. Like oh boy, what was I think the scene to this day, when I look back at it, I was like, yeah, I could see how I'd be scared of that. Was the scene when they're up in, I think, the attic trying to play the game, and when they roll the dice, they start getting stuck in the floor, and then a bunch of pretty big spiders start crawling out from all over the place towards them. I was like, oh, that's just gross, because they did way too well in the production department as making those spiders look as creepy as ever with the practical effects. And I was like, get them out of here. As a kid, I hated those things, but I enjoyed that movie. And then we had the announcement of the kind of reboot sequel movies, with the first one, which was Jumanji, if I'm correct, Welcome to the Jungle. Which, that movie, I enjoyed it. I remember going. I think I went to the theaters to watch that, and I thought it was a pretty fun experience, all things considered. It was overall pretty fun watch. I think everybody that was in the movie, from The Rock, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, even, I want to say her name is Karen Gillian. I know she plays Nebula in the MCU. But yeah, it was an overall fun watch and a pretty funny movie, all things considered. I think it's not a high bar, but I think it's definitely like one of the best movies The Rock has played in, if I'm being completely honest here. But yeah, it was a fun watch. And then the sequel is announced. The first movie did really good in the box office, so of course a sequel is going to happen, and it got announced. And we had then Jumanji: The Next Level that occurred, and that one, I still think the first movie was better, but the second one was pretty good too. It wasn't like it was a huge downgrade. I think the first one still holds up as the best out of the this new trilogy that they're doing. And the second one was enjoyable, like I said, but they then teased the big part of that movie that was like, ooh, wait a minute, something could get pretty fun here, and that was the kind of post credit scene they did where the kids, well, teens, got the characters are sitting at a diner eating, about enjoying themselves, laughing, and then we start to hear the drums of Jumanji playing as we start to see ostriches run by their the cafe that they're in, and it's just like, oh my goodness, they're doing what the first movie did, and that's bringing all of the animals and stuff into the real world like it was in the original. So when seeing that, I was like, okay, that's a cool way to keep it going and keep people interested to want to see your next one. Is let's go and reference, kind of do a full circle moment. The first movie had it with all the creatures and stuff coming out from the board game into the real world. And then in the last two movies, it was them going into the game. And now it's full circle moment where the game is coming to them. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see that trailer for sure. Like I said, like they said, it's going to be dropping in 3 hours. So that will be actually, funny enough, at that should be pretty much around 8 p.m. our time. So who knows, if this episode is not done by then, which it probably won't be, if I'm being all honest right now. But if it isn't, we will try to maybe refresh discussing film, check back on their page, and see if the trailer gets dropped. I don't know if we'll be able to watch it. I know Sony is they're very strict when it comes to watching their content and stuff. So I may not be able to fully play the trailer, but hey, we could still check it out. Maybe kind of like pause through the trailer and stuff, do a live reaction to the trailer itself. So we'll have to see for sure. But moving on here, speaking of Sony, we got to talk about Spider-Man. Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Who remembers listening to that theme song growing up? That was like the classic Spider-Man theme. But we've been talking about this Brand New Day movie for a few episodes now. Well, for a lot of this show, talking about the hype around it, the clips and the trailers, and just everything surrounding it, just being like, oh, this looks so good. And while this movie is going to be coming out pretty soon here, literally at the end of this week, so this is a big week for this movie, especially for the summer. I'm glad. Hey, I'm glad the tradition has been staying that Tom Holland Spider-Man movies have been coming out around in July of my birth month. So that's always been nice. I think I remember not No Way Home. I think it was Homecoming that came out in July in 2017. So that's been kind of a nice little tradition. So for sure, your boy's going to be going to see this movie. I can't miss this one. But we kind of got our reports of our first little tomato meter. You guys if you have paid attention to movies and you've maybe ran across people who talk about the movie reviews and all that kind of stuff, you typically know that people are going to talk about the Rotten Tomatoes score. Even though nowadays, I think a lot of people are starting to grow out of following the Rotten Tomatoes score to base if a movie is good or bad, because sometimes the bad movies get praised way too much, and then the hidden gems, we'll say, are the ones that get completely just demolished. So they're not the best to use, but still, you always look at it just to see, like, okay, let's see what these critics got to say. And so far, well, with 43 reviews, we don't know if it's changed yet, but at this moment, with 43 reviews, it is sitting at 93% Rotten Tomatoes right now. So it's not certified fresh, but it is a fresh tomato, so not a failure. And even as reported by Discussing Film, this is the highest rated live action Spider-Man movie, tied with Spider-Man 2 and No Way Home. And honestly, it's in good company, because when people talk about best Spider-Man movies out there, everybody talks about Spider-Man 2, the Tobey Maguire movies, the 2000s movies, and everybody talks about Spider-Man 2 as being one of the best. And No Way Home, even though I'm someone that, looking back at it, I see a lot more flaws in No Way Home as a movie, I think still it is one of the better. It is still, at this point, until we see Brand New Day, the best of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. But yeah, so it's in good company, seeing that it's keeping up with a lot of the other respected films. But next up here too, we're not going to play the full clip because once again, this is Sony, and Sony I know is very weird when it comes to reacting to stuff. But they did drop a clip that was shown at San Diego Comic-Con the a couple days ago, where I had seen it. It got recorded by someone I were actually going to, funny enough, read their review for the movie, but they had recorded this clip, posted it online, and then they took it down instantly once it started blowing up. So I guess they were like, hey, no, don't share that. You cannot post that clip. We plan on releasing it officially soon enough, so just give us a sec here. And I saw the clip myself. It's a I have been someone for the longest time watching these Spider-Man movies. I loved Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man films, The Amazing Spider-Man. The second one, definitely not as much as the first Amazing Spider-Man, but both films I think have their charm. The first being the better, of course. But there was always one thing when you go back to Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, was the visuals of that movie was so good for a movie that had such a mediocre plot. But one thing that you always get seen like on the internet when people praise that movie is always talking about that opening swing scene from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And when I saw this clip for this new Spider-Man movie, I was just sitting there with my jaw open, like, oh my goodness, this genuinely, it's I think it dethrones the Amazing Spider-Man swing scene. And like I said, we're not gonna play the full clip here, but we kind of get this clip of him jumping out, doing a swing that's gonna happen in the movie. We get some POV shots. Just, oh, look at that. And of course, this movie, they're trying to really have an emphasis of doing a lot more practical stuff compared to all the CGI. Oh, that shot right there, just the cut into his eyes. You see him just swinging. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. I don't need your. Yeah, so we're not gonna play the full clip, but still, just a little brief look at where you can, and of course, me being a guy that pays attention a lot to movies, I could see those moments where it's switching between an actual live shot, like I think that moment when he's getting ready to jump off when he gets to another building and he does a backflip. I'm pretty sure that was like 100% him, but of course, like with some green screen stuff, most likely. But still, overall, I'm so excited for this movie, and I cannot wait to see it when it comes out later this week. I could have had a chance to see it earlier, but just timing wasn't going to work. And even when I did look at the early showings that I think would have been like, I think, what was it, like last week or something like that? Or maybe it was this week. I can't remember for sure. The seats were packed. Like, it's Spider-Man. What did you expect? The seats are going to be packed. People are going to see this movie, and it's going to probably do really good in the box office. But speaking of Spider-Man, this is the man we talked about that had the clip posted originally and then had to take it down, and that is none other than Eric Voss. He's a YouTuber on New Rockstars. I've watched a lot of their videos and stuff where they do breakdowns on trailers and even do breakdowns on endings of films and stuff. And he gave his review where he says this. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to get a nice little drink here. I love using that one for whenever I'm drinking stuff. But as Eric Voss said, my reaction to Spider-Man Brand New Day, no spoilers, don't worry. An emotionally meaty dwelling on loneliness. I hope that's what an emotionally meaty dwelling. So maybe I guess he's trying to say very emotionally packed, dwelling on loneliness and suppressing what we truly are. With incredible stunts, visual effects, and coloring, it's the best looking Spider-Man film since the Raimi era. The webbing has never been stickier. The Hulk sequence was my favorite Marvel action scene in years. Sadie Sink is devastating in her role, and I can't wait to see more of her in the MCU. Okay, so you kind of giving away some of the stuff that because it hasn't been officially confirmed, but we know a lot of the rumors, and even I've talked about them too here. Overall, the film reflects some of my favorite Spider-Man stories in the way that Peter's world is so crowded with familiar faces and insanity, and how his hero's journey can be such an inspiration to others. It takes maybe a few minutes too long to get into everything. Okay, so a little bit of some pacing issues, but it doesn't seem like too bad. But it's a sweet tale that will mean a lot to a lot of people. The biggest impact of this film requires plot reveals to even describe, so nothing further from me for now. So I think there's some things where his words kind of get a little twisted up, but I think still the thing to take away is that the movie was good. I think that's the biggest thing that's kind of take away is that the movie was good. So that's at least good to hear from him. But we also got another one review from another YouTuber that I respect. His is a lot more shorter, quicker to the point. 3C Films, a guy that's really been starting to make his name known amongst the movie critic scene, and even just in general public, where a lot of people are really respecting his opinions and stuff. And I've been watching him for a while, so it's so cool to see him get to this point. But he got to be at the premiere where he said, brand new hashtag brand new day is the Tom Holland Spider-Man movie I've been waiting for, packed with so much emotional depth, spectacular new visual flair, along with strong character arcs. Destin Daniel Cretton, the director for this movie, as well as who directed Shang-Chi and directed Wonder Man, and is also supposed to be directing a Naruto movie for any anime fans out there watching. Watch it from Humble, Texas. Let's go. Spell and go like that. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. But welcome. Glad to have you watching in. But as he kind of finishes off in his review here, he says that Destin Daniel Cretton nailed all these elements. I'm so satisfied. Also, Punisher Spidey dynamic, perfect. That's what we're talking about right there. So another good review coming in for this movie. So again, glad to be hearing that this new Spider-Man film is looking like it is doing what people have been wanting for this franchise, especially with Tom Holland. And again, like I said, I cannot wait to see that movie. Share down below. Are you excited for Spider-Man Brand New Day? Because it's about to come out in a couple days. Next up, speaking of San Diego Comic-Con, as we did say, that clip was originally revealed there, and then they finally officially released it on the internet. We've had some other news, like I even kind of briefly teased that San Diego Comic-Con is normally the big place where Disney Marvel really likes to show up and show out, to really show and give announcements to their future movies, or even give updates on movies that are about to come out soon. And of course, they really spent a lot of time on Avengers Doomsday, as that is the Avengers film coming out at the end of this year in December. We've talked about it before on the show, where of course they had the cast come out. We have Pedro Pascal, aka a little hey, a little is better than nothing, so we'll take it. But we got Pedro Pascal here, Mr. Fantastic, who's he's the new Mr. Fantastic, as seen in the Fantastic Four movie that had came out in last year. We got Chris Evans, Captain America, Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter. We got Robert Downey Jr., who used to be Iron Man, who is now going to be playing as Doctor Doom, come out on the stage. And they got everybody else coming out too as well. So it was nice to see them all standing up. And they even revealed kind of another clip at San Diego Comic-Con, where one of the clips that we had has a kind of a continuation from the trailer with Thor fighting Doctor Doom, where Thor tells Doom, "You'll beg for hell long before I grant it," where Doctor Doom says, "Hell answers to me," which is kind of very Doctor Doom from the comics. He's a guy that thinks he's larger than life. I mean, he has moments where he'll back it up when it comes to his power and stuff. But for the most part, he's always a guy that's like, he thinks he's the smartest man in the room. He thinks he's the most powerful. And I mean, we've seen in the trailer, he does a pretty good job holding Thor off. So he's a guy that's like, hey, you don't want to mess with me. Your threats mean nothing to Doom. So kind of a little cool dialogue back exchange between Thor and Doom there, which I don't know. I'm worried. I'm worried about Thor in this movie, because the trailer really building it up like he's gonna be the guy, the leader of the team that could end up being the catalyst, where he maybe faces an unfortunate end in this film, and that's kind of the big turning point of the movie. But we'll have to see. We'll definitely have to see. But that's just one of the clips. Well, part of one of the clips. Another was shown where we get our official confirmation that this version of Doctor Doom is this group of the Fantastic Four's Doctor Doom, where we get the confirmation of Reed and Doom's rivalry in the footage that was shown, where we get Reed kind of talking to Doom, where of course he says, "Victor, did you do this?" And then goes up to him, grabs him by his shirt, and is like, "Victor, did you do this?" Like getting even more louder with him. And then we get Doom replying, "All of you have lived stolen lives, and now you must give them back." Which, man, I can't wait to hear how it sounds with the voice, but those lines sound pretty cold. And if everything is the stand true, something happened to Doom, which resulted in him going down this path where it's like, I want to fix things, but I'm gonna fix it my way. And his way involves incursions. For my non-comic fans, incursions, like I explained, I think in last week's episode, we talked about that the incursions in the comics is when two separate Earths are about to collide together, and if the two Earths collide, they're both going to be destroyed, and everybody on those Earths will die. But a lot of times the other Earth will come up with the plan of, let's go and destroy that Earth before it crashes into ours, so then we can save ourselves. So that's only what incursions are. So that's kind of going to be like one of his partial plans here, is kind of trying to claim to stop them, but he may end up being more of a catalyst to cause them, so we could then get to Secret Wars. But again, from what the clips are showing, it sounds pretty good as far as I'm concerned, is what to expect with this Doom. And I'm excited for Doomsday. I can't say I don't know for sure if I'm as excited for Doomsday as I am for the new Spider-Man movie, but Doomsday, it's definitely rising up. So we'll have to see for sure. One of the other things too that did happen is Deadpool showed up while all the actors were up on stage. Deadpool appeared, and he kind of asked him some questions. He was like, "Oh wow, He made some jokes, some Deadpool jokes, where he's kind of like, "Oh, this is an expensive way to reveal. This is an expensive way to reveal a cast for a movie." Like, he just cracked those jokes, but then he started to say some stuff like, "Hey, so when are you guys gonna be filming?" And they're like, "Dude, we already finished filming. That's why we're here." And it's like, "Oh, so you're telling me there's no room for an additional spot?" Which they're kind of trying to play it off like he's not going to be in the movie because they couldn't get him. He probably is going to be in this movie, and that was their way kind of being cheeky with the audience. Being a little cheeky with the audience there. But the funny reveal is that this wasn't just some random fan dressed up as Deadpool. This was actually the actor who portrays Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds, dressed up as the Merc with a Mouth. And he posted a video officially confirming it, where he showed the video of him like standing in front of his bed with the gray costume that he typically likes to wear for the promotional kind of outside stuff. And he then showed all the pictures he took with fans and everything. And now all these fans had a chance to be like, "Wait a minute, you're telling me that was actually Ryan Reynolds and I got to take a picture with him?" So the cool little nice moment that he did, the kind of just give time to the fans and all of that. And I was like, dang, I didn't know he was that tall when I saw the video as well. But it was a fun little joke there with Deadpool showing up to talk to the Doomsday cast. But Marvel was not done, as they did say they had some other reveals. Give me one sec here. Where Marvel, they then told the audience, "We're not done yet. We just got a few more surprises to reveal to everybody." And one of those surprises was them revealing our official title card, as well as casting and director for the up and coming 2028 Ghost Rider movie. Which, for anybody that's a Marvel fan, comic fan, you may remember the Ghost Rider films that had Nicolas Cage way back when in like the 2000s and stuff. They weren't good. They weren't good, but hey, people still have them as a place in their heart. And Ryan Gosling, he's been kind of the rising, really big star. He's been in movies like Blade Runner 2049. He was in that stunt guy movie. He was in oh man, what's that? He was in that movie Drive. Like he's been around for a while, but it's been recently in years that he's starting to come up. And there was a lot of people that had him as a fan casting to be in the role of Ghost Rider. And well, we've got our confirmation. And then we also got the director, which a little bit of fans, including myself, were a little like, that's who you chose. And that was Sean Levy, who he did direct. He did direct the most recent Deadpool and Wolverine movie. He directed Free Guy. He directed a good little list of films here and there. But all of his movies have been kind of more in the they've been more in the kind of like happy, more laughy. And I know some people said he has directed more serious action movies, but it's like I'm gonna have to see the trailers because Sean Levy is not the guy I would have instantly thought to go in be the choice for a director. But I'm gonna trust Ryan Gosling on this because from what it sounds like, he had a big say in this. Like he's the one who came up to Marvel, was like, "Hey, I want to be Ghost Rider. I want to do this movie," and it's heavily implied that he was the one who suggested Sean Levy, which they are going to be working together on that upcoming Star Wars movie where he's going to be playing as like a jet fighter and stuff in the film. So of course a little bit of synergy there between the two. So we'll have to see. But overall, I'm still excited to see which Ghost Rider they're gonna do. I'm overall excited to see where they're gonna go with this. I think it's a good casting. So again, congratulations to Ryan Gosling, and we'll just see where Marvel takes us as far as with that film. Next up, as the final announcement they did for San Diego Comic-Con, they revealed Black Panther 3, ladies and gentlemen, where Ryan Coogler, the director for all the previous Black Panther movies, came up on stage where he will be returning to direct. And man, and there was also some rumors too. That's the funny thing, because funny enough, with the Ghost Rider announcement, people claimed that when they went to because first Kevin Feige, he said, listen, when we show up to Hall H, which is the Comic-Con stage that they're at, he's like, we always are there for a reason to show off something big. And so a lot of people are like, oh, wait, what could you guys be possibly showing off? Like some people even predicted Ghost Rider, but there was a lot of people who were like, okay, because people apparently spotted Denzel Washington, because he even announced too on a live interview where he said he gave a list of his last movies he plans on acting in and said Black Panther 3 is going to be one of them. So people saw him there and thought, oh, he's going to show up and reveal who he's there and he's supposed to be in Black Panther 3. Does this mean a Black Panther 3 announcement? Well, we were right that a Black Panther 3 announcement was going to happen. Just sadly, Denzel did not come up on stage to reveal who he's playing, but we did, though, get an actor reveal, and we're going to get to that in a few seconds here. But again, I'm excited for Black Panther 3. Congrats to Ryan Coogler being some of the few Marvel directors to be brought back for all three movies in the trilogy. It doesn't happen a lot, especially these days. It's always wishy-washy, but he's been able to come back each and every time. So again, congrats that he gets to finish off his trilogy. I love all the movies. I still think the first one was my favorite. The second one, though, I see so many people hate on it, but I think in overall, it's a good sequel. And I know there's a lot of Black Panther. Well, I don't know. I don't want to get into that conversation, but there's a lot of Black Panther fans I see on Twitter, and I call them more so T'Challa fans because they be so mean-spirited towards people who be genuinely happy about like Shuri's inclusion. And I think it's because they carry a little bit of anger towards MCU of how they handled T'Challa and not recasting T'Challa after Chadwick Boseman's death. I didn't have that big of a problem with it. And overall, still, I trust Ryan Coogler, and I know that this movie's going to be good. But as I said, there was a reveal, and that reveal, ladies and gentlemen, is we finally got the reveal of who our next Black Panther is going to be, and it is none other than David Johnson. If his face looks familiar, even as we're going to play this clip here that shows him up there being announced to be playing as T'Challa. Now, they did specify he is playing a grown-up T'Challa Jr. If you remember at the end of Black Panther 2, he's the son of T'Challa, and he's supposed to be taking up the mantle, which I thought was a clever way of how they wanted to do it, that's their way of not kind of recasting T'Challa. But there's still a lot of questions because last we saw him, he was a kid. Now we're talking about he's going to be a full-grown adult. and Letitia Wright's going to be back as Shuri. So it's like there's a lot of things, and especially with that this movie's going to be happening after Secret Wars. There's a whole conversation like, okay, is the reset going to happen? And then like, hey, we're going to have to find out, but it leaves a lot of questions. But if his face looks familiar, his two bigger movies that he recently has been like really getting popular was in Alien Romulus as the synthetic android that was paired up with our main with our human cast and stuff. You remember, I forgot her name, but she had kind of a brother who was an android and stuff. He stole the show in Alien Romulus. Honestly, he was like, it was so funny. He gave so much character to a robot in the film that he was in. But another movie you may remember him in is he played in The Long Walk, and he was good in that movie too. So again, overall, like, congrats to him that he's making such a rise, and now he gets to play one of the most essential roles in the MCU as being the next Black Panther and possibly the next T'Challa. But we're gonna kind of lay the clip here too of him coming up on stage.
I want to say thank you so much. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you to this amazing family that I have the honor and the privilege and the blessing.
So yeah, that was a little reveal there, and I'm all for it. I know that there was the rumors people thought where I know there was the whole kind of rumors that maybe Damson Idris was gonna be playing the role, but honestly, I think that this is just as good of a casting. And again, I cannot wait to see how David Johnson portrays T'Challa in his next appearance in Black Panther 3. I'm so excited. But you share down below, are you excited for Black Panther 3? And what do you think of our new casting of who will become the next T'Challa, the next Black Panther? But following up to kind of end off our movie section here from San Diego Comic-Con, there was another movie that had an early screening of sorts, and this happened directly at Comic-Con, and that was for none other than Coyote versus Acme. We've talked about this movie before, just kind of brief synopsis plot for anybody that maybe is new to the show or does not know about it. Coyote versus Acme is where pretty much Wile E. Coyote from Looney Tunes is finally tired of all of the inventions he's tried to use to catch the Roadrunner backfiring on him, and he's done. So now he's going to take Acme to court to basically get back at them for intent, as basically the whole point is going to be intentionally giving him faulty products. And there was an early screening at San Diego Comic-Con where people got a chance to see it early. Of course, we did get a new poster literally today. Earlier today, we got another official poster, and a nice little fun poster. You see him with a bomb, trying to roll it up with the runner, just watching him there. And they did even drop another trailer too, the final trailer. And I gotta admit, I saw that final trailer and I was like, it was hitting the feels, because there was just some moments in there I was like, man, these people care about this movie and they really wanted to happen, and I just can't wait for it to come out August 28th. But we did get two early reviews from people who did get a chance to see it. One from Andrew Salazar, where he said, I can finally say that Coyote vs. Acme is a pure delight. Laugh out loud, funny, genuinely clever, and full of heart. It stands firmly next to Roger Rabbit as one of the best live-action animated hybrid comedies. Given its long road to release, this couldn't be more satisfying. Which, that's some big... Well, first off, that's some big shoes to be comparing it to. Because I mean, there's got to be a lot of people who remembers Roger Rabbit. That was one of the staple movies of combining live action humans with a cartoon character. Still goes down as one of the best. So you had Who Framed Roger Rabbit as being one of the best of those, but also still being iconic. Then you had Space Jam in 1996, which continued that trend and became another phenomenon because it was at the era of Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes making a comeback. And then we never really got a good successor to those two big movies. I mean, we had Space Jam 2 come out, wasn't really that good. We had we had Chippendale Rescue Rangers come out. That movie was thought to be good when it first come out, but when you rewatch it, it's just like, it's an okay movie, but is a lot more flawed on second, third, fourth rewatch. But to hear that this movie is being compared to Roger Rabbit as being a good successor to the live action animation hybrid films, I'm like, okay, I'm in. You got me in. And again, like he even says, given its long road to release, because we've discussed the history of this movie, that Warner Brothers was ready to basically vault the film entirely for a tax write-off, where they would have gotten money back, not release it. The craziest part is this movie was pretty much done, but they didn't want to release it. It was a crazy thing, and people voiced their opinions enough for the movie to get saved, and now we're hearing all this good news, and I'm like, yes. I'm so excited. I can't wait. And another review that we got too from Rachel Leishman. Coyote versus Acme made me a Wile E. Coyote apologist, and I don't understand why this movie has had such a hard time getting released. Hilarious, emotional, and so effing good. But yeah, again, another highly positive. Both reviews kept it pretty short, but very positive. And I'm like, man, hearing all this stuff about it, seeing the trailers, knowing that this movie, we fought so hard for this movie to get released and saved from tax write-off, and now it's here, hearing all the good reviews, I'm just like, I cannot wait for this movie. This is genuinely one of my most anticipated movies of 2026. I know that's a crazy statement, but it's true. I'm excited for this film, and I definitely plan on seeing it day one, 100%. But you share down below, are you possibly excited for Coyote versus Acme coming out? Have I possibly done a good job to hype you up for the film? You share down below in the chat and comment. But we're also going to kind of check here before we do move on over to our sports section. I know we did say that a possible trailer might get dropped here. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I can't say I'll be doing the full trailer. You know what? Nah, let's do it. Let's do it. Who got our trailer?
What is going on?
Oh my God. Spencer, you gotta get back here. Grandpa, you okay?
Look over my left shoulder.
No way.
Is that?
Yes, it is. Honey, do you know him?
Spencer and I were both inside of him when we were in Africa.
Dr. Bravestone, I'm so glad I found you.
Of course you are, because of my reputation and my charisma.
You're what? We have a problem. They're video game characters, but they're stuck in demo mode.
Bravestone is Spanish, I think.
Tyson.
There was a hippopotamus in the alley!
My nephew. He's a lunatic.
I'm beginning to suspect we're not in Jumanji.
Damn rats.
Donatus, hi.
Let's go.
Why do they run like that?
Honey, these new friends of yours make me very uncomfortable.
No one is going to stop us.
Dr. Bravestone's the best driver in all of Jumanji.
If you don't slow down, they will make us stop the car.
Oberon, get in the back.
Fine, but you listen to me. I should be the one to...
Oh,
Come on, no time to waste.
Did I break the world?
No, maybe.
The only way to stop this is to get you guys back in the game.
Push!
What's that?
Mom!
Goodness. Spencer, honey!
Mom, I'm right here.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Sorry.
What is this miserable... Am I dreaming, Donatus? Yes, I am Donatus. It's me, Janice. Janice? You look terrible. So different. With muscles and penis and no hair.
Ow! I'm okay. Where's Aunt Nora?
Tyson?
Who's Tyson? I'm Tyson. Except I'm a black grown-up.
Mom, get ready.
Violence is never the answer.
Wow! You get one! And you get one! You should be ashamed of yourself!
No, it's okay.
Come here. That's my boy.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Listen, I know that the video might, knowing Sony, they're probably going to try to take my video down. Well, we'll see. But if it has to get cut out, it'll get cut out in post. But I had to react to it, live reaction. You share down below, what did you think of that trailer for Jumanji Open World, which should be, I think, the finale to this trilogy. I thought it looked pretty good. It looked pretty good. Again, they playing it on that whole Kevin Hart, Dwayne Johnson. Oh my goodness. And Scary Movie 6 is still true. They said they couldn't get Kevin Hart to come back and reprise his role, but they made a joke in the movie where they said, "What? But he plays in almost everything." And here he is. Oh my goodness. Okay. That trailer looked good. I cannot lie. That looks good. I can't wait for this movie. But you share down below. What do you think of Jumanji Open World? But now we're going to go and move on over here to our sports section, the kind of final section here for tonight's episode. And we're going to start over with the basketball side of things as far as sports goes. And that is, of course, we talked about in last week's episode that a decision was coming sooner rather than later. And well, we did finally get the announcement that LeBron James has selected the 76ers as his next destination and signs a 2-year, $8 million contract, which is, first off, is like, whoa, he really signed a vet minimum, showing that the money, he wasn't in it for the money here. He's in it. And I mean, of course he isn't. He's made a whole bunch of money, but he made his decision to go to the 76ers, where he's going to be joining a pretty stacked starting lineup with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and the recently acquired Jaylen Brown from the Celtics, which this looks like, this looks and sounds like a superstar team, but we are very familiar, especially if you paid attention to basketball throughout the years. We have always seen where teams build up the superstar teams and it doesn't work out, or it does. And when I look at this, there's definitely those red flags where it's like there's a chance that this ends up being a really good move and Philadelphia ends up making it all the way to the finals, or if injuries catches up to some of the players here, then it's like, oh boy, I don't know what's going to happen, but we now have our decision. Congratulations to 76ers fans. Y'all landed LeBron James. And speaking of LeBron James and which team landed him, sadly, part of me was kind of hoping, but also a part of me was like, oh, we'll see what happens. And that was hoping that maybe my Warriors would get him, because it would have been nice and fun. It would have been cool to see LeBron and Steph Curry playing on the same team, even if it was just for one season. But sadly, that is not the case. And Draymond Green has agreed to return to Golden State on a 1-year, $27 million deal, because if you may not have heard, he had to get a new contract, so he either had to sign his player option or he would hit free agency, and he basically told the Warriors, I won't sign my player option, basically trying to help the Warriors have some more flexibility to go out there and maybe make a push for LeBron James. That ended up not being the case, and now they're like, okay, and now Draymond's like, okay, well, you guys couldn't land LeBron. You guys need to give me my money now. But yeah, so there we go. Draymond is back in Golden State. I don't know how Golden State is going to now have to swerve around and rebound away now from missing out on LeBron James, but there's still some players there in free agency and even players that could be possibly available for trade. So there's always a possibility. Heck, I've even been hearing some rumors and reports possibly that the Miami Heat, since they missed out on LeBron, that they could be heavily targeting Klay Thompson, the former the former Golden State Warrior, currently wishy-washy Dallas Maverick, and acquire him to pair up with Giannis and co. So you see the teams are now going to have to start having to find a way to basically be like, okay, well, that didn't work. We got to now strategize again. So we'll have to see. You share down below, what do you think about LeBron James now being a 76er? Next up here for our football section, today was training camp. Training camp was already kind of up and coming, starting up. Yesterday, the rookies came to training camp to get ready. But now the big day was today, where the veterans and now everyone, now that the day is pretty much over, everyone has reported to training camp, and it's time to get started. People about to get ready. Teams got to put who's on the physically unable to play list, injuries, all that kind of stuff is about to go down. And so kind of to start things off here with the training camp news, we did get our official confirmation here from the new Raiders head coach, Clint Kubiak, aka the former offensive coordinator for the Super Bowl winning Seattle Seahawks, announced today that 4-time Pro Bowl selection Kirk Cousins will be the starting quarterback over number one overall pick Fernando Mendoza to begin training camp. So, of course, there is still a chance that if Fernando Mendoza ends up proving something, that could change. But at the moment, Raiders fans, Kirk Cousins is going to be your starter heading into the new season, which is not a big surprise. We kind of knew there was the rumors and talks and discussions that pretty much they were going to basically want to put the veteran quarterback to start and let him play for the majority of the season, so then Mendoza doesn't have to have the pressure on him because that's sadly a thing that happens a lot in the NFL nowadays, where rookie players, especially quarterbacks, especially when you're going to a franchise that is kind of going overboard, you're expected to come in and instantly change the team for the better. And it ends up resulting in a lot of rookie quarterbacks falling apart, failing, and not really being able to thrive. We've seen it sadly happen to a lot, and we've seen the rookie quarterbacks adjust accordingly and be who we expected them to be. So I think it's a smart plan though for the Raiders. It's like, hey, you did sign a pretty big contract with Kirk Cousins, so why not start him over Mendoza, give him time to learn behind him, and then when the time is right, then get him to start. So hey, fantasy owners and groups and stuff, now don't at the moment right now, don't bank on Mendoza starting. If you're gonna pick someone from the Raiders, pick Kirk Cousins, Kirk O'Chains. Next up here, we got some contract talks as we had a few contract extensions happen today with Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter signing a 4-year, $152 million deal, making him one of the highest paid defensive tackles in the league right now. We had Browns cornerback Denzel Ward sign a 2-year, $62.2 million contract extension, making him the highest paid corner in the league. And then last but not least, the Vikings signed right tackle Brian O'Neill on a 4-year, $96 million contract. So we had some pretty big extensions go on here from defense and on offense. Some of these players, funny enough, were players that there were trade rumors, like Denzel Ward. There was possible trade rumors that if he didn't get his deal done, he would end up heading into try to get traded to another team. And well, the Browns are like, we know you are too good of a corner. We're going to sign you to an extension. Same with Jalen Carter, because Jordan Davis, the other defensive tackle on Philadelphia, he got his contract extension, but not Jalen Carter, the guy who a lot of people would probably say is a lot better. But everyone was like, where's his contract extension? Even he was probably wondering. So there was rumors that maybe he would get traded. Well, he did get his contract extension, so no trades there. But hey, congratulations to all these players getting their money, get that bag, and that means they're going to be coming into the season playing to prove they deserve that money. But while we got some players that are getting the good news of getting money, we've got trouble in paradise as some trouble is brewing in Tampa Bay. As we talked about it last week about Baker Mayfield, the quarterback for the Buccaneers, where we said he explicitly talked to the media telling them that if a deal does not get done for him by the start of training camp, do not expect him to be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer by next season. And before we actually get an update on that, we did get another crazy reveal as today Vita Vea, the star defensive tackle from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, has requested a trade from the Bucs. Now, this could mean something or it could mean nothing. We don't know for sure. We do know that it was reported earlier in June on the 18th that he was entering the last year of his contract. And he wanted a new contract. With any player, they want an extension. They want that security. And he was like, I want a new contract. But it was just nothing seemed to be happening. Even during mini camp, it turned into a hold-in where he wasn't doing any drills with the team. It was not looking good overall. It was just like, oh boy. And now we're getting official reports that he wants out. Now again, this could mean something or it could mean nothing. We've seen it before in the league where players will say, I want to be traded, but that's just their way of basically kind of lighting a match under the team's butt to be like, hey, I want my money. If you ain't going to give me my money, I'm out of here. So that's kind of him speeding up the process, like, hey, if you ain't gonna pay me my money, then trade me because I don't want to be here no more. Not on this contract. So we will definitely keep you posted and updated if something does change. But for the time being, he's requested for the trade. We do not know if it will happen. Of course, there's a lot of teams out there. There's even been some reports too that Vita Vea, apparently his top destinations, if he was to get traded, he would love to go to California or play for the Raiders. So, hey, all California teams, as much as I would love for my Packers to maybe go for him because we need some defensive tackle help, but he said it, even though it doesn't really matter, sadly doesn't matter what he says because it's all going to come down to what team gives him the best trade offer to the Buccaneers. So it doesn't matter as much as what he says, but we at least know he wants to go to either California or play for the Raiders. So that means Raiders, 49ers, Chargers, and the Rams. And I'm just telling you this. I saw someone make a post and I was laughing because it's so true. But the Rams could do the most obnoxious thing right now and go and trade for Vita Vea and add to that defense. Oh my goodness. Imagine the Rams defense with Vita Vea, Braden Fisk. Oh my goodness. They got so many studs on that defensive line. Micah Parsons. Oh, they would be a Super Bowl team if they got Vita Vea for sure. And if Aaron Donald comes back, oh, people don't want to play him. They could do the most obnoxious thing, but we'll have to see. Again, I'll keep you posted if something does change. But for the time being, Buccaneers fans, trouble is in paradise because even to add more fuel to the fire, we did get an update where it is expected that Baker Mayfield and the Bucs are going to end their contract talks for an extension. And now the plan is that Baker will play the season on his final year and become a free agent in March of 2027. So again, like I said, there is trouble happening in paradise where now you've lost all in the span of this year's off season. We've had the retirement of Levante David, a captain of that defense for the Buccaneers, gone, retirement. Mike Evans, a captain for that offense as one of their best receivers, leaves the team to go to the 49ers in free agency. You then have Baker Mayfield telling people, if we don't get a deal done by training camp, I'm not staying in Tampa Bay. You then get Vita Vea saying he wants out and wants to be traded. And now we're hearing that Baker Mayfield is most likely going to play on his last contract and then head into free agency. Man, if this really is going to happen, then this is the end of Tampa Bay. I do not know how Tampa Bay rebounds because they've really been a team that has been consistent for the most part, except for last year. But they've been a team that's been consistent in having pretty much all the pieces to make it back to the playoffs, but normally get eliminated in the first round, or as we sadly saw last year, have to bank on another team winning to be able to make it. So we've seen the downfall. And while I can understand that they're like, listen, you're getting older, you got injured, you weren't playing at your best towards the end half of the season. We gotta be thinking younger, but at the same time, I get both sides, and it's just like, man, if Baker and Vita Vea both leave the Buccaneers, this generally spells doom for Tampa, especially considering that the Saints and the Panthers. Saints and the Panthers are starting to get good. There's no sugarcoating it. New Orleans and Carolina, they're starting to get good. And as we saw, Carolina dethroned Tampa Bay and making it into the playoffs. So things are changing. And if Tampa Bay can't get this figured out, it's just like, that's it. I don't know. There's no telling how they rebound from that kind of stuff. And I know this, if Baker Mayfield heads into free agency, he will be a side-out quarterback. There's the chance he could go back to the Rams, especially because we know Matthew Stafford. He's getting older. He's looking like this or next year could be his last season. We know Baker played a few games for the Rams and Sean McVay. So there's a connection there. And it was thanks to the Rams that Baker Mayfield found his love for football again. So he could be a rebound option for the Rams if Matthew Stafford ends up retiring after this year. There's a lot of teams that you could easily see them going for Baker Mayfield. So he will be sought out if he becomes a free agent. But again, it's just like, man, it's crazy to think that Baker may not be a Buccaneer by next year. So we'll definitely have to see how that turns out. But again, trouble in paradise. Next up, we got the announcement from the Vikings that they will be inducting running back Hall of Fame Adrian Peterson into the Ring of Honor on November 9th when Minnesota hosts the Bills on Monday Night Football. Adrian Peterson, here's your little picture here for any old football heads out there that were watching this guy when he got the ball. And I sadly didn't get a chance to experience much of Adrian Peterson growing up, but being a football fan and watching the replays and the highlights, I could see that he was that guy. And as much as I may be a Packers fan, I liked watching those highlights of Adrian Peterson. So congratulations to him getting inducted in the Ring of Honor. And all I can say is hopefully the Vikings win that game against the Bills. They ain't gonna win that game, but it's still kind of funny he got to get inducted in the game that his team may end up losing. I know I have a family member who's a Vikings fan, and they always got to be talking their mess, but their Vikings ain't nothing. You know who you are. But moving on here in the football side of things, we got an announcement from The Athletic that Netflix is hiring former Panthers linebacker Hall of Famer Luke Kuechly to be its #1 game analyst, pairing him with Noah Eagle per Andrew Marchand. Games he will call include Week 1, Rams versus the 49ers in Australia. Netflix also has Thanksgiving Eve, Christmas, and a Week 18 Saturday game. So you're seeing Netflix, they're trying. They're really trying to get themselves into the market of being another platform for live stuff. We've seen it with the boxing matches. We've seen their deal with WWE and getting live matches from there. And then even their deals to getting live football games. They're trying to really make themselves a juggernaut. And now and that makes sense though. Now Netflix is like, you know what? If we're going to seriously be trying to compete with these other stations and stuff to be having these games, we need to have a serious analyst as our main go-to guy for now and possibly the future. And hey, congratulations that they chose Luke Kuechly. I mean, he's a guy that most Panther fans will tell you he's one of the best defensive players in the league. There's no doubt about it. And so again, congratulations to him getting this big deal done to become this analyst for Netflix, and especially for some of their games that they're going to be having. Next up here, we're going to kind of round out this episode with these last three football news that a little bit more on the serious, kind of sad, and just overall, some overall prayers going out to the families and stuff. But before we get to the last two, the first one is the Commanders will have Wes Welker take over as the tight ends coach after the firing of Ben Steele. They just hired this coach in the offseason, and already they fired him. It was announced literally on Monday. Here, this was the post made by Ariv Merov, a guy who's been pretty decent with his reports. And yeah, so they fired him, and they said they will have no further comment on the situation, which definitely does not leave the best impression on what he may have done to get himself fired. I will say this. I laughed at the memes on social media where people said, listen, I don't know if he did it, but he looks like he did it. And when I saw that, I started laughing because I hate it to say it, but it's so true. This guy's profile picture does not look like he didn't do something. I feel like it's going to be, if they do reveal what it is, it's going to end up being some kind of misconduct because he does not look innocent at all. But yeah, so it sucks to see that, but hey, they got to get a new guy in, and they found their guy. So we'll see how that turns out on that new job. But now getting into the more serious stuff, as it was reported, well, we kind of got an update today, but a couple days ago, there was a car crash that happened with the head coach of the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, where he suffered a concussion, had a lot of injuries. I'm not going to break down the injuries as it was a lot. It was really brutal to the point they literally, for this training camp that's going on, he will be kind of sidelined where he will not really be at full part. He will be a full participant in the training camp, and they have someone that will be standing in for him for the time being until he's fully recovered. But we did get an update today where he is now taking the blame for the car crash that left him with concussion. As it breaks down even further, San Francisco 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan took the blame for the car crash that left him with a concussion and other injuries, saying he took his eyes off the road to reach for his fallen cell phone before hitting another vehicle. Shanahan crashed into a 21-year-old woman driving in the other direction in Palo Alto on July 14th and was left with a concussion, broken ribs, a broken nose, and broken left hand, and stitches for a large cut above his right eye. Shanahan was briefly hospitalized following the crash and hasn't been able to coach the team at the start of training camp. The other driver suffered minor injuries and did not need to be hospitalized. So yeah, then he kind of goes into a breakdown because I guess they had released a report like he wasn't at fault, but then he went and he clarified that no, I take blame. He says that he was driving at 20 miles per hour, but of course the biggest thing that he says that he feels that he takes blame for this is that his cell phone fell and he took his eyes off the road to go and get it, and the crash happened. So again, prayers when this was announced, it sucked to hear that, and prayers still continually go out to the Shanahan family, especially for Kyle, that he has a swift recovery, that he's able to go back and be able to coach for the 49ers before the season starts. And yeah, hopefully he's able to, like, again, he has a swift recovery. Prayers are going out to everyone involved. Next up, the really sad news that occurred was where we had the announcement that the wife of Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy was shot at Virginia home, and that the person arrested and is being charged is their very own son, Elijah Zion Bieniemy. Which, when I saw this news, I was like, man, because we just had, I can't remember if I talked about it on the show, but we just had the Calais Campbell situation where the star defensive tackle who's supposed to be starting his next season with the Baltimore Ravens, where he had the big thing where they went to go and check on his mother and found out that she had been stabbed, and that the person being charged and accused of the injuries was his own brother. And it's like, man, that's just horrible. And now we get this news here for Eric Bieniemy, and And this is the guy that was the former offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, won Super Bowls with them. Then he stepped away from the job. Matt Nagy became the new offensive coordinator, and then this year they fired Matt Nagy, and now he's coming. And then Eric Bieniemy was coming back, so there was a lot of hype and excitement going around it for Chiefs fans because this was the guy that helped them win Super Bowls, and so they're like, okay, we're getting a guy. He's going to come back here, bring some stability. And then to hear this news, it's like, man, again, prayers going out to the family. And yeah, again, it's very sad to see that. And prayers are going out to the family. And it's again, similar to the Calais Campbell situation. And even this, it's one thing for your family. I mean, already it's bad enough on your psyche and all of that for someone that you care deeply about, like Calais Campbell and his mother, and now Eric Bieniemy and his wife, to be hurt or murdered, but then to find out that it's your own flesh and blood that was the cause of this. It just leaves you with questions. It's like, what happened? Were they just not right in the head? Did something occur? And of course, we don't really know too much. All we know is that the son has been arrested and is being charged, but we're left in the dark, and that's all we know. And it's just like, it's one of those things where we don't know the situation. If I'm correct, I think that we did get some reports on the Campbell situation with his brother, that he does have a mental illness, which I know we hear so many situations of people who overuse that. Let's be real. We live in a day and age where people overuse that excuse of mental illness for doing heinous acts. But with the brother's case, it seems like there has been a history with him. I think they said he has had epileptic episodes and stuff, and so it just kind of, again, we don't know the full story on either of these situations, but it seems that something occurred. Maybe he had an episode, and that's what resulted in the Campbell situation. We don't know anything about the Bieniemy situation. Like with every situation that gets serious like this, prayers are going out. I pray that the wife is not severely injured. And even just to go, we're going to read down a little further just to kind of get more details. Maya Bieniemy, the wife of Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, was shot on Sunday night at their home in Ashburn, Virginia. Police responded to a report of a shooting at approximately 7:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. According to the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office, they located an adult female suffering from multiple gunshot wounds, and she was transported to a hospital to treat serious injuries. Authorities did not disclose her identity. Elijah Zion Bieniemy, the 27-year-old son of Eric Bieniemy, was arrested and charged with malicious wounding, use of a firearm in the commission of a felony, and discharge of a firearm inside of dwelling, according to the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office. ESPN reported that Eric was with the Chiefs in St. Joseph, Missouri on Sunday for training camp. The team released a statement saying they are aware of the incident involving Eric Bieniemy's family. Chiefs coach Andy Reid told reporters on Monday that Mia is stable and that Eric left camp to be with his family. Again, it's like, man, you're busy, you're there getting ready for this upcoming season, and then you got to get that news. So I'm glad to hear that she's in stable condition. My prayers are going out. Of course, I hope we get to the bottom of finding out what happened. Was this like, did some argument break out? Was he having an episode? Like, but again, it's just like, it's so much. There's so many factors going into this, and again, we can't make any assumptions on anything, and I'm not gonna make assumptions. It's a sad thing, again, to all these situations. I know that's a weird way and a sad way to end off this episode, but again, I felt like this was the time to address it. So that is all that we have for tonight's episode. As always, I'm grateful for everyone that tunes in each and every Tuesday night to support me and watch this show. Make sure to share it with your family members, share it with your friends, give a like, give a comment, share down below what you'd maybe like to see me talk about on a future episode. But as always, we are live at 7:30 p.m. Central Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Again, as always, love you guys. Take care, and I'll see y'all next time.